Hey, we are live. And I said that just for my buddy Glenn.
It's the after show.
Party. The after show pate. So, hey,
Let me share this out, Ken, so that I don't have to have you reprimand me about, hey, be sure to share this out.
hey, yeah, why don't you make sure you share it out?
I will.
Your dudeness. Your dude. Instead of calling you dude, I'll say your dudeness. What's up? There's Mike Scott. What's going on, Mike Scott? What's happening, bro? So, Glenn and I were just hanging out and talking and decided to do an after party show just because.
Yeah, because we enjoy our Sunday evenings together so much, and we've sort of had a silent agreement with the audience that it winds down at 9 o'clock here. No, 8:30, and then we visit with one another, and then all of a sudden we're still talking, and quite often we're talking about stuff that makes for interesting show substance. So we decided to have a little after party.
Joe wants to know if they're allowed to be funny.
Yes, we encourage it. We encourage it.
Hey, Pam.
Was Pamela watching tonight, or did she just show up just now?
I don't think she was.
We would not have been able to interact with Pam if we were not here.
Carrie Lynn Carter was definitely watching the whole time.
She was part of the show, and now she realizes we're back because we couldn't get enough of our folks. We love our folks. We love our family.
But first, before I do want to
tell me how much you love me.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Oh, you want to go with the big reveal?
Well, for those that didn't see the big reveal,
we challenged each other to a weight loss, right? We made a bet last week.
We did not.
Which one of us could lose weight between last week's show and this week's, and I won.
Turn your head. Show him the full Monty. Look at that.
The full Monty.
Look at that.
Yeah.
He is.
And you wonder, am I going to at age 61 discover that I have a birthmark of some kind there that I was unaware of? Because that would certainly qualify as insightful.
Look, Gabby wasn't on our show either. At least she didn't acknowledge.
Right. So we're picking up the whole. This is sort of the late night crowd.
This is the late night crowd.
I think part of the issue, Ken, is that we come on so dreadfully early for the people on the West Coast.
Yes.
It's tough for them to want to shut down time in Malibu. I mean, they're sitting there, they're looking at Mother Nature, they're riding their surfboard, and all of a sudden they go, shoot, I got to go home and watch the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott. Probably not going to happen.
Look. Hey, I'm just in a patriotic mood, man. So I'm gonna show a video.
Do it.
May I?
Please do. I loved it when I saw it yesterday. It's great.
Did you?
Hey, I told you Ernest would join us again. He said he's back. I love it.
Ernest is back. Look.
Samuel Sneed is back. It's the late night show.
And just so everybody knows, Scott is taking care of his wife who's feeling a bit under the weather.
Yes, and he is specifically feeding her chicken noodle soup. And this is not any indication that there's been some sort of unrest between us, right?
No,
no. He's our buddy and we love him, but he's busy. Scott. And sometimes Ken and I can't get enough of each other. We have a minimum daily dosage that we rely on. And Sundays are a little stronger because we know that we're going to have friendship withdrawal on Monday and Tuesday because I teach all day and night.
But I pop into your teaching.
But you pop into a group setting and you and I don't really get to sit and banter back and forth like we do on Sunday evenings. That's all.
That's true. I mean, we did kind of banter a little bit the other day.
Well, everybody else went, aren't we paying Glenn for this? Don't we? Don't
We
we?
only bantered for a second.
Don't we send him a monthly check while he sits there and visits with this guy from Ohio? What's going on?
Oh, I think they like that. I think they have fun. So let's show this video, man.
Do it.
All right, hang on.
Little Lee Greenwood in the house.
This is beautiful. It's just beautiful.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota
to the hills of Tennessee,
across the plains of Texas, oh, from sea to shining sea. From Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, oh, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless this country. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless, please bless you.
Mm.
If that doesn't give you chills, I don't know what will.
And scene.
That's just beautiful. Absolutely a beautiful, beautiful song.
Hey, there's
And
Donna from Snyder, Texas.
Hey, Donna. She's a real sweetheart.
Yeah, she's part of our group in Tuesday Day in the acting studio. How was your trip to Kansas City and back, Donna? Did you make it out to Missouri? I don't know if you went to Kansas City. I know you went somewhere in Missouri. Did you make it out there and back to Snyder, honey?
I thought
she'll let us know. She'll let us know.
Yeah, that's such. And do you know that there are no musical instruments in that song?
Well, the musical instruments were their vocal cords
and beatboxing.
Yeah, the ultimate musical instrument.
Absolutely
beautiful.
Amazing. There's
Greg
Karen
Parton in the house. Karen Toddy in the house. Greg Parton in the house. Robert
Doug
Brooker came
Kuzma.
back to spend even more time with us.
Who? Robert?
Yeah, Robert.
Yeah.
My brother from another mother in Toronto, I believe,
Yeah.
right? Isn't he from Toronto?
Yeah. He is. He's from Canada, eh?
And what did
I love
Sammy?
doing
What did he say? I saw Lee Greenwood do that live at Stone Mountain Park years ago. Would that be Stone Mountain, Georgia?
Yep.
Wow.
Samuel's down in Georgia.
Man, that one boy. You hear that one voice? You hear that one voice, and the fellow is singing, talking about Texas. Man, he is down here. I mean, that was about the lowest bass voice I ever heard. That's something else, man.
Look at that. She had a long drive.
10-hour drive.
Oh, look. Robert's mother is from Nashville. You know, I love Nashville. Just thought I'd randomly throw that out there.
Well, that's where you and I met, so it will always be special for us.
And you know that restaurant we ate at, what's it called?
Something chicken place.
Mama's, what was that called?
Mama Helen's back porch chicken, something. It was
really,
something like that.
It's pretty famous from what I heard. Come in. Oh, look, we may have a special guest joining us.
All right, and now the show will take a turn. It's lovely.
Why is your hair all disheveled?
Hey, Abigail.
What's your foot?
Yes.
Abigail, what was the name of the chicken restaurant that we dined at? Did you catch the name of it in Nashville?
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
Oh, you looked it up.
No.
Hattie B's?
That was it. And do you know that that's actually a really famous place? Like it's a staple in Nashville.
Yeah, Hattie B's. That's where we were. Hattie B's back porch.
The mildest mild sauce ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it mild?
Ken, my intestines are still bleeding 2 weeks later.
Well, Carrie says hi.
Hi.
Say hello.
Hello. You need to work on your British accent, mate. It's a little rough.
It's a little rough around the edges.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But just around the edges though, maybe we need a little filer to straighten those out.
Little filer. A little dialect filer.
Yeah.
It's like having a dialect hangnail. We'll just break out the filer and just slightly remove the edge.
Yes.
The chicken from Hattie B's will light your tail on fire if you order the wrong thing. Yeah,
it did. Glenn, it was.
Not only is that true, but on the way home, Scott, I stopped for ice cream, or it was Brian's comment, wasn't it? Yeah, Brian Hess.
Brian.
I stopped for ice cream. I had like one of those little Haagen-Dazs bars, and I swallowed it. And the next day, and pardon the visual, but I needed to go to the bathroom, and it was hot, right? I'm talking about hot going in, hot coming out. And here's what I did. I sat there on the toilet going, come on, ice cream.
Why are we talking about this?
The real star here is indeed Abigail.
Look at that. Say thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
Karen recognizes class when she sees it.
Oh.
She's not about to overlook the beauty of young Abigail.
Why is your hair wet? Were you swimming?
Yeah, I went swimming, but then I took a shower, but then I forgot to brush my hair.
Look at Pamela Aubrey's comment. She goes, "Hi, Abigail. So fabulous to see you."
Say hello, Pamela.
You even were the recipient of a double exclamation mark.
Whoa.
Not a single, but a double.
That's awesome. Why are you out of focus, Ken? I am?
Oh, Cindy's telling me it was mixed company. I wasn't being nasty. That was clean. Come on, ice cream. Come on, that's clean.
I actually just had ice cream.
Well, then I apologize for the timing.
Look what Abigail says.
Oh yes, it's a struggle. It's a
Struggle
very
to keep the little
struggle
boys
keeping
online.
these boys, keeping them in line. I have to do it at school. I have to do it at home. It's unbelievable.
You've got to keep the boys in line at school. Why?
Yes.
What would they do if you were not there? In your opinion, what do you think they would do?
My friends would be swarmed with these crazy nut jobs. Like, I mean, the people at school are literally like, the boys had a contest. Who can jump over the desk the farthest?
That sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Oh, believe me, it was way worse than a disaster.
Please tell me you had a chance to see someone break a bone.
Sadly not, but...
It's unfortunate. It's truly unfortunate.
So,
She said, sadly.
Sadly not. I got to be honest with you, Glenn. Sadly not. If all had gone well, there'd have been some sort of substantial injury.
So this boy, it was the day that I got out of my boot when I broke my ankle. And I was at recess, you know.
You didn't break your ankle.
I did. Just let me finish. Okay. So, and I was, you know, walking
You
around.
realize you
at
just
recess.
told off the host of the show.
I've taken over, thanks. Anyways, can you let me finish, sir?
Go.
Okay.
My
So
God.
I was walking around at recess, you know, getting the feel of actually like walking around without a boot. And then this little thing comes up to me. It was a boy. And like
It was. Go ahead.
so it was a boy. And like he's like, I'm gonna chase you. And so like I was like, stop. And then I started walking away and he tripped me. And so the next day, I come over with my boot and my crutches. I walk up to him and I use my crutches and smack him right in the shin.
Fantastic.
Oh, and I did it multiple times. Once in the arm, once
Well,
in
why
the
on
shin, once
earth?
in the ankle.
Why on earth would you stop at one?
I didn't stop at one.
I mean, I'm saying if you're going to misbehave, then don't
I
stop
believe
at
me, I
one.
wasn't misbehaving. I was doing the right thing for sure.
And not only that, but you practically owe it to him to equalize the pain in both ankles.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And in arms and in heads.
Can you read this? Read what Pamela Aubrey says.
Read that out loud.
It's a tough job, Abigail, but someone's got to do it, and it takes a very special girl, but you've definitely got what it takes. Well,
Aw.
thank you.
Pamela is really one of our favorites on this show. She is a love-centered human being.
Look, Joe says never admit to this stuff on live TV.
Look at this. Greg just said, love the haircut.
Look, Abigail. He looks even more different than he did last night when he called.
Thank you, buddy.
Look.
I
Turn
went
sideways.
I went with the full hair removal. And Greg, it's
all
not
the way.
for a role. It's actually, usually when you see an actor do this, it's for a role. This is actually because I don't have a role for a few more weeks, and I know it. And I've wanted to shave my head my whole life, not to keep it that way, but just to know what that experience is and what it feels like. And now I know. So it's been removed from my bucket list, and it's a very different presentation. You wouldn't think it would be that different because my hair is, very short, closely cropped anyway. It's about 1/4 of an inch long most of the time. Anywhere from, about that, about 1/4. And what did you say? Next, we need to shave the eyebrows. No, Carolyn asked me if I wanted to shave them, and I thought,
excuse me.
no, because I don't want to look like I'm from Mars.
No,
and I don't want to do that. But anyway,
that's like
thank you, Greg. Thank you, though, Greg. I appreciate that.
I've been thinking about something.
What is that?
I've been thinking about starting my own show because I know I make people laugh, and when I make people laugh, that makes me smile and laugh when I say something funny, even though most of the time I don't really mean to. See what I mean? Perfect example.
Right. When you've got your own father who seems to be inconsolably joyous.
Yes.
Right.
Very good explanation.
Thank you. I try to be thorough when creating an image.
You must have paid attention in school.
I did. I also paid off my teachers.
But yeah, I was thinking of like starting my own show, like whenever, and like it would just be like, I know I would have like a topic or something, and it would just be like happy and positive, because I know there are like a lot of bad things going around, and a lot of people are like scared and stuff, and so I can make somebody laugh.
It's beautiful. And you know what? You would have a huge following if you did your own show. Hey, Abigail, I got to do a quick business thing here. Greg, I want to let you know, I assume you saw what I posted on Facebook today. So find one of those 4 that appeal to you schedule-wise. So in the central zone, we're at 9:30 and 11:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. So for you on the West Coast, that would translate to 9:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. and any portion of that. But I got to tell you, we're putting together magical things, G. It's uncanny what you can do if you know how to correctly utilize the Zoom format with eye lines and similar backdrops. You really can create it to look like people are in the same space when in fact they are a country apart. And I got to say, the actors are growing. They're really growing, and it's wonderful. So come see us, and hopefully other people from the Extra Mile in Los Angeles and around and in Salt Lake and so forth will see that and will come join us. We have a great membership, and it's growing, and it's going global. So that's exciting. To me, it's fun to be able to do a scene with someone in Australia live, and it looks like you're about 3 or 4 feet apart from one another. And you'll see when you see the scenes. So come by either tomorrow or Tuesday, Greg. We welcome that. Yes. Thank you, Abigail. I was responding to a post from someone regarding our acting school. We can still hear you. Even you keep your voice down.
Well,
this is what it sounds like when you're telling your father a secret.
Well, it's not really a secret, but you just said something about like being in Australia, and I was like, does he have an accent? Is he really like Australian? You know what I mean?
The person that's in the class does have a slight dialect.
Really?
It's like you never know, right? Sounds like that.
I want to move to Australia because like that not a lot of bad stuff happens there, and I feel like Australia is just like a really nice place, you know what I mean? Like
it is a nice place.
It's a safe place. It's like
safe. Say this with me. Safe. Place. There it is. It's the way they say it. It's a safe place.
Is that an Australian accent?
That's an Australian dialect. Safe place.
He's doing it right now.
Really?
You never know, right? You got to put Vegemite on your toast.
Oh my gosh, the YouTubers that I watch, they hate Vegemite.
Vegemite. No, it's what they call an acquired taste. Ew. It's an acquired taste. But just say that. Just say, I'm from Australia.
I'm from Australia.
And I put Vegemite. On my toast.
And my toast.
And it tastes like.
Dog
poop.
Dog poop.
There you go.
But wait, how do you know it tastes like dog poop? Have you ever tried it?
Because I've had it on my taste buds. I've had friends from Australia that sent me a package of Vegemite, like a year's supply.
That's not Vegemite. What she asked you.
Oh, you mean why do I know what the taste of dog poop is?
Yeah.
I have friends of mine. I have friends of mine who sent me like a year's supply of dog poop as well.
Oh, okay. We're going to get into that. All righty. Get comfortable, everyone.
Oh, jeez.
Get comfortable. The story of the dog poop.
By the way, this was exactly the way we raised our children. and both of them are completely sane, contributing members of society.
That's right.
You got to know how to have fun. You know, look at what Joe said. He goes, it's way down under.
Yeah, where is that? I'm looking for it.
See it?
Scroll down.
Joe.
Yeah, no, it's right there.
Oh, there.
It's right there, mate. Come on, man.
It's way
There it
down
is.
under.
There it is. Donna says poop. Okay. Well, hey, thanks for stopping by.
I'm leaving already.
Well, it's time for you to go to bed. It's 11:05.
Bed? What's bed?
It's where you're going to go sleep.
What is sleep? I never sleep.
And then you'll be able to have.
I'm nocturnal.
And then you'll be able to have thoughts tonight on what you want your own show to look like.
Well, I just want it to be like. What do you mean by like my profile picture, or like? Do you
No,
want?
not your profile picture, but rather just being able to decide what you think people would like to see to be entertained.
Well,
And properly stimulated conversationally. You're right. You're saying things that are interesting
yeah,
and
I feel
keeping
like
people's interest up. That's all.
yeah. I feel like a lot of people are like animals or something, or stories about animals or something, or they like just like funny stories in general, like stuff that maybe happened at school or what happened at home. I just like the main thing that I want to do is like I want to make people laugh. That's the main, and I want to like make people smile and stuff because honestly, just personally, I think that's what I do best. But anyways.
And our world needs that.
Yes.
Our world needs folks who bring with them smiles.
Because it's falling apart.
Well, I wasn't prepared to go quite that far, but you know, if that's
Yeah,
how you
Roxy.
feel, Abigail.
Hello, Roxy. My
Hello,
grandma's
Roxy.
name's Roxy. Very nice name.
Look what Weldon says. Read that.
That you, Abigail.
He meant to say thank you.
Oh,
you.
well then. I've been kind of down for a couple of days and you've perked me right up. Well, why have you been down? I'm sorry you've been down.
She'll hit you right between the
She'll
eyes.
cut right to the chase, Weldon.
Yeah.
Why would I
And
hit
this is what your show needs to be, is when someone says something, you just say, so why is that? Tell me why.
Yeah.
And then they tell you, and then you discuss it.
Thank you for loving the way I took over the live. That's one of the things I do best on this show. Is taking over the spotlight. Because for first you were the star, but then your daughter came in and she's like, well, hello, I just had some ice cream and I'm going to go ahead and steal the show. That sounds like my Ohio accent too. What?
She lives in Ohio. She lives up near Cleveland. Well, Canton is where I think. Canton, right, Carrie?
I didn't know there was a Canton in Ohio.
Glenn had his ears lifted.
Yeah, what do you think of the new hairdo? I should say the new scalp do. Yeah,
like,
that's the real thing. That's not a swimming cap. Although it kind of looks like one.
Okay, so some people they like put these things over that, they tie the hair up and they put the things over their hat and it looks like they have no hair, but then they just like on TikTok they just pull it off and it's just weird.
Were you ready for me to do that?
No, please don't. I really do not want to have a bleeding head on the show.
But it looks real, doesn't it? This one that I've got.
It does look real because it is real because I can see your light shining off of it.
The reflection.
I thought you were going to see that. I can see the freckles on top of it, and I can even see some of your elderly veins in your scalp.
You're not elderly. Stop talking talking like that, mate.
Well, thank you, my love. I
Well,
was just making a joke. You don't have to be quite so serious. I was just playing. Good God, lighten up, woman. Take it easy. I'm your cast.
call me
I'm
a
your
woman.
I'm your castmate.
Did you just call me a woman?
You're not.
A
You're
young lady.
I am a lady. Thank you.
You're a young lady.
A woman. I do not have anything that sorts with a woman yet.
Jeez. Okay.
I
Let's not
think
think
I won't explore that. I
Good
think I
idea.
should
Thank you.
probably just be silent.
Yeah.
Yeah. For a minute, I thought you said you did want to explore that.
No, I don't want to explore that. What I do want to explore is what you think the price should be, because I'm going to put my hair on eBay. Because it's the only time in my life that I've completely gone bald. And I
Okay,
thought
I'll
that
buy
maybe
your hair
that would be worth something on eBay. Right? So you can
sell hair on eBay though.
you can get the generals.
You're
the
gonna make a
general-
wig.
The general from Transformers, you can he sounds like this. You can get the general's hair. I mean, what did we find out? Billy Beer, if President Carter had some of it, was worth $15 today.
Yeah. Let's see.
Didn't somebody chime in with that fact?
Yeah. Well, Scott did.
That's what it was.
Hold on. I wanna show her. I'm just gonna pull it up here and whoa. I'm gonna open up a hang on. I'm gonna pull up a Transformers scene with General Morshower in it. Here we go. Well, you can tell me which one. How about that, Glenn? We'll show everybody.
All right, hang on, Ken. I'm sending you something that I think does need to make the show.
Oh, you are?
I just sent you something.
A text?
Yes. And I think it needs to be on the show.
Really?
This is the moment I told you about that cracked Carolyn up.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no. Is that what you did to shave your hair?
Yeah, I think Roxy would appreciate this. So will
Oh my gosh.
so will Greg and Donna. Donna will love this.
How did it not get in your eyes? Oh my gosh. Why did you zoom in on his nostril like that?
Yeah, I didn't do it. It did it.
Are you playing this?
Hey, you ready?
He just zoomed in on the
Listen,
nostril.
you ready? Glenn?
Yeah.
Here it goes. There it is.
I think it's funny.
And I can zoom in.
On the nostril.
Yeah, so that was
that
was when I went from the zero guard to actually shaving it.
Wow.
And that was last night.
Wait, I thought you already shaved it.
I did.
Well,
And so now I'm growing it back, but I think that's an enjoyable moment in my life. Right there.
Isn't shaving cream for shaving, not growing back?
no. He's okay. So she's confused because of when you FaceTimed yesterday and she saw you.
Yes.
And you ended the friendship.
I had, but we mended it very quickly.
Yeah.
We heal very fast, don't we, Abigail?
Yes.
Whenever you and I end our friendship, it historically speaking, it's only lasted for about 30 seconds.
Right. So you had taken an electric shaver thing and shaved it down to where there was just like stubbles, like
just it felt like sandpaper. Right? Yeah.
And then after that, last night after we talked to him, he did that.
Right. That followed that so that I would get a really, really tight shave.
So it was like a really quick.
You know, our audience is probably going, I got to be honest with you, Glenn, you've gone on about this for really more than long enough period of time. So anytime you want to change the subject.
Karen says, nice to meet you, Abigail. Got to run. And she's saying bye to Abigail, but not us.
Oh, well, thank you. Goodbye, and have a nice night or day or evening or afternoon, wherever you live.
She's in Southern California.
Karen is a
a
sweetheart.
little area near Temecula, California. I don't know exactly if she lives in that spot, but I know it's close.
She's awesome.
Smile says it all, getting caught doing something naughty, fun. Yeah. Harmless mischief.
That's
which
right.
I am an enormous fan of.
So tell me which one of these to play.
That one.
This one here?
Yeah, those are commercials for the Transformers ride.
Okay, here we go.
Welcome aboard, recruit. You think you have what it takes to be a part of Nest? You think you're some kind of hero? Well, you may get your chance. If there's one thing we need out here, it's live bodies. Relax. That's one of ours. We're getting reports of Decepticon sightings and Energon readings everywhere from California to Shanghai. They are planning something big, and if they get whatever it is they're looking for, well, it ain't gonna be pretty. Yes, Mr. President, Project 101 is a go. I'll keep my eyes peeled for movement heading west. Yes, sir. More shower over now.
So there you go, Abigail. That's.
Can I be in a movie with you?
It depends if I need a sidekick.
What is so funny? Is there something
dear
wrong with him,
Lord.
or is there something wrong with me?
Abigail, if they say to me in your next military picture, you're going to need a 10-year-old advisor who walks in and says, General Mooreshower, we've just had these papers come directly to the Pentagon. May I brief you, sir? Can you pull that off, or would it be more like, General Mooreshower, would you like me to brief you? Would it be like that?
Honestly, I would walk in and say, excuse me, sir, would you like some tea and crumpets for your afternoon snack?
I would lean in and go, that would be lovely.
Would you giggle like that?
For the outtake.
No, I'm not a giggler. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's so funny. That is hilarious. All right. So you need to go to bed. So say goodnight.
Good night, everyone. Have a nice night or whatever you live.
Good night, sweet girl.
What?
I said good night, sweet girl.
Good night. Is it night for you that way? Is it this?
Yeah, we're one hour apart.
So it's 10:18 there. It's 11:18. You need to get to bed. Give me a kiss. Good night. I love you.
I love you.
All right.
Okay.
Night, sweet girl.
Good night. Bye.
Bye-bye, honey.
Bye.
Good night.
Night.
Oh, Lord have mercy. It's always entertaining.
She will be flooring the world, as she already is, but she will be flooring the world.
Greg says, can I be your manager?
See, Greg already wants a job as an agent, right?
I know.
He's a really wonderful actor, but he's prepared to set that aside.
That's funny. I think Glenn already has dibs on that. That's so funny.
Roxy, I've got my arms around you, my sweet. Just know that, and then we will get to talk privately. Just know that I've got my arms around you. And Pamela, oh, she was saying goodnight to Abigail.
Yeah.
So what didn't get covered tonight, Ken? That
Man,
I enjoyed the show a lot.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was lighthearted. It was fun. It was connected. Scott is a frigging historical reservoir.
Dude, Scott is on a completely different level. I mean, he's on another level. Don't you wonder? Do you ever like go, how do people? I mean, he literally knows everything about presidents of the United States. I mean, like everything and more.
You do know that William Henry Harrison had an allergic reaction to wheat. That's the kind of thing.
I
He
know.
was one of the few people in his grade school that was unable to eat wheat bread for the grilled cheese sandwiches that they served in school. After William Henry Harrison suffered a wheat allergy, he also is the only president who was ever run over by a bicycle on the day of his inauguration. Strangely enough, the bicycle was made by Huffy brand. Not a lot of you know that, but when its early stages of infancy, Huffy, and hence the expression, every time he became angry in office, people said, "Don't get Huffy with me." See, this is an example of the game that I want to play next week, Ken.
Oh my God.
Because all you have to do is just present it with enough conviction and everyone will assume it's a fact. I wonder if anyone ever fact checks, Scott, on all this stuff. The truth is, I'm sure it's true, but my God, he's so great with his voice that he could be lying to us and enjoying it all the way through the show. And we're like,
I know.
God, man, that's amazing. How do you know that?
That's like really cool.
That's really cool.
It's crazy.
God, I don't know why I've made having a life a priority, but anyway.
How does my thing is how does somebody remember that? I mean,
it's usually cash. It's usually someone offered him some cash to remember, and they said, "Here, dude, remember this."
I mean, it's crazy.
Weldon, look what Weldon says. He says, if we're going to do history trivia, Ken and I will need a book.
Definitely. I'm going to have Google on standby.
You know what I love about Weldon is just, he's just right there. Whenever I tune in to Scott's show,
yeah,
Weldon is there not only just watching, but he's engaging, he's supportive, he's intelligent, he chimes in with interesting thoughts all the time. And Robert and Weldon have that in common.
Yeah.
And Cindy is part of the same camp,
Yep. Absolutely.
Although Cindy is still dealing with a little bit of disappointment in me right now that she experienced because I was being a little playful with Abigail, and she wanted to remind me that we were in mixed company, and I wanted to remind her that I was very tame, actually.
Very, very tame.
But if Cindy and I are on the outs for like 15 minutes, it's okay. It's not my preferred exchange with her, but if she's temporarily disappointed in me, hopefully she'll be over it within the next 5 or 10, Scott is a genius. Proud to have known him for 50 years.
That's incredible.
Wow. Well, so much for Scott's lie telling us that he's 50.
Yeah. Well, maybe they've known each other since birth.
We're joking. We know how old Scott is. Well, that's cool. 50-year friendship. I actually have a few of those myself.
Wow.
My friend Lauren Lowenthal and I have been buddies for 51 years now.
Cindy said you guys are good.
Oh, we're over any kind of weird energy. Good. Thank you. Welcome back.
Welcome back to the fam bam. So no, I think I don't think there's anything that we could add to tonight's show. Tonight's show was awesome, man.
We were just feeling good and we wanted to invite you guys into the locker room.
Yeah.
That's really all it amounts to is Ken and I go into the locker room
and hang out
after show, and we hang out and we went, you want to extend some locker room passes?
But do we really have to refer to it as like a locker room? Like we weren't in there showering and stuff. I mean, it was more like
maybe you weren't.
in the green room.
You weren't showering?
No.
I showered right after the show. It's the first thing I do every week.
And wash your hair?
Yes. That one was weird. That
I'll
was
bet.
weird, shampooing my scalp only. You know?
I don't know that you even need to use shampoo at that point. I'm just going to be honest with
Well, I
you.
used hand soap, but what are you going to do?
I mean, Irish Spring probably will do the job.
Look at this. Weldon is saying, great show tonight.
Thank you. Justin Meyer said the same thing.
Why was it great tonight, Weldon? Since we're in the locker room, let's talk about the game film. I mean, was it lighthearted? Was it educational? Was it?
We're at the backstage after party in the green room, not the locker room. I can't.
It's the green room. Okay.
Look, the locker room. I know.
Can I just tell you that the difference is
the green room?
The amount of hors d'oeuvres we have out for our guests right now is far more commensurate with a locker room than it is a green room. Because
apparently you've not been in many
locker room. They
NBA
don't put out
room.
anything. You just.
Hey.
Nice Coca-Cola and the fresh stench of sweat.
Look.
What? Oh, wow. The Irish Spring whistle.
I did it.
Hey, just a little bit of Irish Spring.
Oh, I went down and I can't even do it now. Forget it.
I can't believe that I sang from The Sound of Music tonight. And Pamela Aubrey missed it.
My life will never be the same.
We had many an after party at the Tulsa Opera. All I could find was beer nuts.
Did you ever what was that who's the guy that does the Irish Spring commercials? He's hilarious.
But I couldn't help but notice that I'm looking at Weldon's comment, and just for the first time I realized how similar educating and defecating are in sound.
Oh my God.
And yet somehow different in meaning. Can I sing some Mozart for you sometime? I'm prepared to check the yes box on that one, Ernest.
I thought Mozart only did. I didn't know he had lyrics in his music. Learn something new every day.
I didn't know that. Oh no, I won't even be able to sleep tonight. I'll have to watch. I can sing it for you live. You ready? Doe, a deer, a female deer, ray, a drop of golden sun. Me, a name I call myself, far a long, long way to run. So, a needle pulling thread, la, a note to follow, so. Tea, a drink with tea, a drink with jam and bread. I haven't sung it in a while. Tea, a drink with jam and bread, that will bring us back to dough. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah. So the reason I sang it is because I go, doe, a deer, a female deer, ray, a drop of golden sun. And I was doing it suggesting that we can literally enhance our mood by the choices we make. And that's why I did it. I wasn't.
And you were talking about the shower.
And I was talking about it being a cure for depression. And I also wasn't joking, nor was I doing a bit. I sing that song most mornings, or an equivalent. Like, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, then your life will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. And it occurred to me that it's not just about being happy. It's if you're happy and you know it. And I do know it. And that's been my emotional pitch my whole life. Yes, singing raises our vibe.
Yep.
It does. And look, you don't have to sing for an Oscar. You can sing poorly and it will still raise your vibe. And it works. I mean, there are a lot of organic options that we can say yes to that improve how we feel. There are also thoughts we can run which lower how we feel. And the idea is to become someone who starts tracking what they do with their energy. Hello, Roxy.
Good night, Roxy.
And rest well, sweet. Again, I want to say my thoughts are with you, my dear. Yeah, so we do have a right to think about how we want to spend our time and our energy and what we want to affiliate and associate with. And how much light do we wish to run, or how much darkness do we wish to run? And until we notice it, we're not going to be careful. And once you've noticed it and noticed the effect that certain thought patterns have on your mood, and let's take it a step further, because it affects your mood, thus it then goes on to affect your efficiency. And, you know, Ken, you provided on your show the other night, you were talking about an acronym. You remember your 4-letter acronym for action?
Yep. TFAR.
Right. TFAR.
Thoughts,
feelings, actions, results.
Yep.
Now, do you think I listened to your show?
No, I think you completely ignore me most of the time.
See? I pay attention.
You do?
That's right up there with something that Gandhi said. Do you know what Gandhi said? And this is not a joke. Gandhi said that there were 7 levels that started with your beliefs. Right? It starts with your beliefs. That your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your there's one more, your values, and your values become your destiny. And it reminds me of that. It's the same thing. So when you compress those, what you come up with is your beliefs become your destiny.
Yeah.
So what are you busy believing?
Oh, looky there. Sandy Archer joined us.
Hello, Sandy. What are you busy believing? What are you busy allowing to exist within these 2 precious places? Mine seems to be a little more exposed tonight, but these 2 precious places, look where I'm holding these 2 of real estate.
Yep.
You talk about precious real estate. I want to tell you, precious real estate is not Malibu, California. Precious real estate is where you see me grabbing right here. And if I've got to lead with one, it's going to be this one. Right? And we know that we all believe it deep down inside, even if we don't intellectualize it, because when you ask people to stand up in an auditorium, then close their eyes and ask them to point to themselves, just about everyone in the auditorium is going just like this. Right?
Yep.
They don't do this. They don't do this and point to their nose. They don't point to their elbow. And I never said point to your heart. All I say in my sessions is, I want you to do me a favor now with your eyes closed, simply point to yourself. Every once in a blue moon, you'll have someone that does this. But it's rare. It's really rare. And how do we not glean something from that? To me, it's inescapably apparent, right? It's blatant that we are heart-centered people and that the further away we get from that, the more trouble we get into. There is a huge tax to be paid and a price to be paid for living out of alignment with your own heart. Huge.
I agree. It's huge.
And when we get in sync with that and give up, this is one of the things that I made in my talk, Ken, to my class last week, is if we can give up the quest for popularity.
Yeah.
Because so often in the name of popularity, people will do what's popular with no regard for whether or not it's in sync with their soul or their heart. So they were more concerned about acceptance, right?
You
the
know,
acceptance of others rather than the synchronistic alignment of their actions with their values and their own. So we trade in values for popularity, and it's very costly when we do. It's like trading Boardwalk for Baltic. It's a really, really poor trade.
I think people, you know, what happens is we're all sent here or have arrived here. I don't know if we're sent here or I don't know. I don't want to get into the semantics of all that, but we're here. We outswam 500 million sperm to be here.
Correct.
1 in 400 trillion odds of being born, because you know, it's not just like, hey, the sperm made it to the egg and got in there and everything. Like, then you have cell duplication. The heartbeat doesn't even appear. I have a really good friend that's an OBGYN, and I'm like, dude, where does the heartbeat, like, where does that come from? He goes, you know, that's one of the medical mysteries. We have no idea. I said, when does it first show up? Because they, you know, are doing ultrasounds all the time, and they do not see the heartbeat until around week 7. And it's never the same exact moment. Sometimes it could be week 7.5 or 8 or 6.5, but it's always right there in that little window that the heartbeat will suddenly appear on an ultrasound.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, where does that come from? And then you go through all the other stuff and you're born into this world. And then most people are living their lives, and you talk about this, and I love, it's a brilliant talk you give. But, you know, most people are born into this world. They're raised by parents or whatever the situation is. And then they go out and live their lives according to the way they think other people think they should be living their lives, instead of pursuing the reason they're here, what that is deep down inside. And Ernest just asked me to tell the story about the, may I? Do you care if I share this?
Of course, I want you to just open your heart and spill it out.
So
are you asking Ernest if he cares?
No, he asked me to. I'm asking you if you care.
This is what I live for, Ken. I love it.
So in my book, I have a chapter called Look Inside. And I start it with, there's a story. It's an old Hindu story. It's about the gods all got together, and they were really ticked off at the humans because they had given the humans the ability, a gift. It had been a free gift forever, to know everything they ever wanted to know.
Oh, I know which story this is. I love it.
Yeah. And so any answer to any question that any of the humans could have ever had, they freely had this gift. And finally the gods got together and they said, look, the humans are abusing this gift we've given them. Let's, you know, take it away from them and hide it. So they have to actually work for it to be able to utilize this gift. And so they talked about it. One god said, hey, why don't we put it atop the highest mountain in the world? And they all said, no, they'll learn how to climb and find it too easily. Another god said, well, how about if we put it at the deepest part of the deepest ocean? And no, they'll dive down. They'll find it too easy. And the wisest god of them all spoke up and said, why don't we hide it deep within the humans themselves? They'll never think to look there. And so it continues today. And so when and I'm referencing
sad but brilliant.
Yeah, but it's that thing that I talk about, meditation, where I've meditated every day of my life for more than 17 years now. And I think, you know, we are all, first, we're all connected. I think we can agree with that. We're all connected energetically, spiritually, and we have this free gift to have the answers to anything, the answers to literally anything that's deep inside of us. It's God. It's God in us, right? We are God, he is us. We're all and yet we're walking around on this planet living in fear of, well, if I do this, well, then what will Glenn Morshower think of me? Or what will Pamela Aubrey think? Or what will, Weldon Whitehurst think? Or that's not what they want me to do. They want, I know, I mean, I have evidence. My parents told me and my teachers told me, and I'm, I know that I'm supposed to be doing this because they all told me that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And man, I think that we're literally just allowing other people that programmed us to completely steal our lives away from us. And I think that's sad.
I agree with you. However, it doesn't have to be that way. Totally. And that's the good news. The good news is that we're always at choice. We have say so. And we have to consider, I love this saying, and you may have heard this, Ken, that it's been said for years that on the day of our death, our life flashes before our eyes. I've always wanted to make sure what flashes is worth watching.
Right. You definitely have a great life.
No, but I mean, that's the commitment you make is, if our life does flash before our eyes, I want to make sure I'm busy designing a life that's worth watching the flashback of. And it's, let's hear what Pamela says. I, like many, was told growing up that my big ideas were fantasy. It wasn't until I learned to listen to that crazy part of me again that I finally started to find the path to what I really wanted to do most with my life. Yes, please, Pamela. I would like 2 scoops of that belief system, because that is really the deal. What is this? Battery is dead. Love you guys. Oh, yeah. Oh, your phone battery. Gotcha. Thank you, Ken and Glenn, for the show. This is the thing the world needs right now and beyond. Thank you. Yeah. Hey, Greg, come see us. Shoot Carolyn an email and figure out when you want to come in. We're going to blow your mind, bud. And I know that there are people there that you'll know and love and connect with. It's a beautiful thing.
Hey, I want to acknowledge Doug real quick and say thank
you,
man. I feel the same, brother. I appreciate you. He's actually in my course too. He's taking my course.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that, I think what happens is the good life, the really good life. I mean, you can go hog wild and say the great life, the magnificent life, the brilliant life, you can call it, but just the good life, with a big smile, just the good life is available. But more often than not, I think it stops, not because it has to, but I think it stops as a table topic. That's where it stops, or it stops as a radio show topic. It's something that we talk about as a concept. And what I would hope more people would consider is the good life is on the menu for your ordering. It's a dish you can actually have. You don't have to just talk about having it. You can actually order it up as long as you're willing. The dream life can be the life that's lived, at which point it's no longer the dream life, it's the reality. And it can become the one that's lived as long as we're willing to do what's required. And there are requirements. There absolutely are requirements. I've been teaching this stuff for years. And the two biggest requirements are that you're going to have to add on an approach that to this point you've not been using. And you're going to have to also surrender or part with certain approaches that you have been utilizing that have gotten you to this point, but they're not going to serve you moving forward. And so it's a combination of adding and parting with. And I think every time we level up, that same dynamic exists. It's really about membership and the idea that you want to walk into a beautiful white carpeted home with mud all over your boots. In other words, you don't think there are any terms for admission. And if it's my house and you knock on the door and then you say, "Can I come in?" I go, "You're welcome in here." No. Take your boots off.
Right.
Right. So there's a requirement. You don't get to just walk in. It doesn't work that way. And so there is a price to be paid because the stakes are higher. And the stakes are higher because, frankly, the level of fulfillment runs deeper. Right? And there's a huge joy benefit from being in alignment and being happy. And I'll tell you that being happy is a lot easier on you. It's easier on you to feel good. And most, not all, Ken, I wouldn't dare to run my mouth and say all because I know better. But most joy levels, most success levels, most lives lived efficiently are produced formulaically. Here's how they're not produced. They're not produced by luck.
Nope.
Because luck isn't sustainable anyway. I understand that you can have a lucky development along the way, singularly, or maybe you get struck by lightning twice career-wise, and that's beautiful. But luck and luck alone is not sustainable. So I wouldn't rely on luck to repeatedly deliver the ball across the goal line. It's not the way it works. But you can make a lucky reception from time to time. You can have a lucky, a stroke of luck in a given moment. But otherwise, they are following formulas again and again and again. So if you track successful people, you will see that there are a list of things that they do that those who are envious don't do. And there are a list of things they don't do that people who are envious do practice. And they have not to this point released them. So if you start looking at what's required, I say this to my actors all the time, that I'm very happy you're taking a class with me. That's beautiful. But if that's where it stops, you're only with me in a class for 6 hours once a week. And you've got 6.5 days in your life where you're not in class. What are you doing with that time that is aiming toward the target you say you're after in your life? So it's formulaic, it's recipes.
Zig Ziglar used to say, "I believe in luck. I believe the harder you work, the luckier you get."
That's beautiful.
I think it's like watching you on a TV show or in a movie, and we've already laughed and joked about it, but I hadn't seen hardly anything until we became friends, right? And then I watched 24. All of it was incredible.
You were very supportive, which I did not even need or care about, but you were very respectful and very supportive.
But I wanted to get to know my buddy Glenn, not just the Glenn I know here and sitting in a restaurant in Nashville with, watching him scald his mouth with hot chicken.
that came out of my butt, burning hot, just as hot as it was in my throat.
I wanted to see you because I have the.
I did what I called the poop and cringe, Ken.
Oh, jeez.
The old, poop and ah.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful. We get that Hattie B's. I'm not going to order that.
But I watched you. I watch you teach your class.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow, this dude knows his stuff. Like it's like watching you teach your class, and I'll watch and I don't know all of the terminology, but watching a scene, two of your actors in the class do a scene, and
guys, for those of you listening, we're talking about online.
Yes, online. Yeah. But I'll watch and then you come in and you say, that was great. But I want you to do, why don't you try this and do this and you'll make a couple of notes for them. And then they come back and they add or remove or add to, and you come up with some of the most genius compilations. Is that the word? I don't know if that's the right word.
Sure.
It's so I've watched that, and then I watch you on TV, and I'm like, it's amazing. And here's the thing.
Do you see the correlation when you watch?
Oh, now, like I forget who it was that did I've seen it several times, but they do the phone scenes in your classes, and I love how, like, you've pointed out several things. And now when I watch a TV show and they're doing a phone scene, I'm paying attention. I'm
now
like,
you know why
you just screwed up, dude.
Like, now you know why the upstage hand, the one away from camera versus the downstage hand, why someone is facing screen right to screen left and screen left to screen right. Yes.
Right. And so my point behind all of that is that didn't come natural for you. I mean, I'm sure there's some element of it that has been natural. Sure. When you're doing your gift, there's a natural element to it, but you've had to work for that. You've had to work to get to that and work your face off, I'm sure, to get to that level. And to get to the level where you get phone calls and go, hey, we want you on The Resident, or hey, we'd like you to star in this movie, or hey, that's the level that everybody's like, man, if I could just get to that level. And well, find your level, find your own level. I think that we're all walking around, and I don't as much anymore, but I still do it. We walk around and people see, like you and I on here and Scott, and we watch people online, or we see, we may even go hang out at the country club or something and play a round of golf with somebody. And we get a little snippet of what's going on in their life, this little snippet. And then we think that that's their entire life. And it's not. We are walking around comparing our movies, meaning our life, to other people's highlight reels, where you're just getting a little snippet of their movie. You're not seeing the whole movie. They're going through some shit too, I promise you.
Right.
Like, they're going through stuff. Like, or they've been through a lot of stuff, or they've worked their faces off to get to where they are. You didn't see, like, some people say, I've heard Grant Cardone say it, like, yeah, he's riding around in a Gulfstream 550. It's a $50 million jet. People are like, oh, he had overnight success. He's like, yeah, I had overnight success after 20 years of getting my rear end kicked, or 30 years or 40 years in some cases. So, that's what I try to encourage people is like, look, man, don't go through life comparing your movie to someone else's highlight reel. Find your own deal and do it with everything you have.
Yes, and yes. I got to tell you, I think that there's an amount, and I don't mean a specific amount for all people. I think the amount of money, this is a little thing on money, Ken. And I wanted to ask you to illuminate Pamela's previous comment when
This?
she said, yes, for me, when I walked long enough in what I didn't want, I was willing to do what I thought I never could because Ken told me that what it would take to have what I wanted. What Ken told me that, you read it because it's something you said to her, and I don't want to read it wrong.
No, you're reading it right. That what it would take to have that. I think she meant that's what it would
That's
take.
what it, that's, there's an S missing.
Yeah.
That's what it would take to have what I wanted. That's correct. That's what threw me. It definitely requires constant effort. Yeah. You know what it is? There's a word here, and the word is discipline,
Yes.
right? It's a discipline.
Yep.
And there is a discipline to increasing your joy quotient. There is a discipline to increasing your physique's appearance. There's a discipline to increase your prosperity.
Yep.
There's a discipline associated with it. So, and it's about not what we do, it's about what we keep on doing. So being consistent.
Yeah.
And gosh, I was going to say something about
Money.
oh yes, about money. And what I was going to say is this. I have never, hand to God, I have never envied what someone else had financially. And I'm really grateful for that. And I'm talking about long ago when I didn't really have any money in my life. And while right now I can tell you that there are those who have their own plane and their own helicopter and their own Bentley and their own this and that, and they have a 20,000 square foot home on however many acres, and they own 50 horses. I mean, I've told this story before, but it's not a story to be told from metaphor. It actually happened, which is that, and I've never told you this, Ken, ever, and I should have told it on our Sunday night show at some point. Maybe I will, but the people that are with us, the few that have hung with us tonight, can hear this. My son and I were traveling across country alone many years ago. He was probably about 10, which would have put me at 30 because I was 20 when he was born. I couldn't even legally drink a beer, but I'm somebody's dad. I love that. So I'm 61 and my son's 40 now. But I just turned 61. So there was a time when I was 60 and he was 40. And anyway, so Greg was 10 years old. And we're making this cross-country trip, and we're in no hurry. My favorite way to travel, where it's really not about the destination. And you realize, and my life reflects this all the time, is that truly the journey is the destination. That it's about the journey. Because if you think about it, the vast majority, I'm talking about 99.999% of the time in life, is going to be spent journeying. Destinations are reached periodically. And relative to the journey, it's a little bit of destination and a whole lot of journeying. So if you're only allowing yourself to be happy upon reaching a destination, you have just relegated yourself to being happy less than 1% of the time. But if you decide, I am a journey celebrator, I absolutely love the journey itself. That's the destination. It's all in the discovery. And so we pulled over to the side of the road and I said, would you like to climb that mountain with your dad? And he goes, yes. That'd be fun, Dad. I said, we don't have a schedule. Let's do it. And it wasn't a prohibitive mountain. It was more of a very large hill, but it appeared to be probably maybe an hour climb to the top. And it's father-son time, which is the most important thing. And we start up this hill, and this man starts yelling at us, waving, flailing his arms about, hey, hey, hey. And I knew what he was doing. And we ignored it. And we kept going. I knew exactly what he was going to do. And I just thought, this is a beautiful opportunity for me to educate my son. So we finished our climb, went to the top, hung out for about 15 minutes, looked over the valley up. It was gorgeous. And then we came down. And on the way down, this man, with his arms crossed like this in anger and disgust, marches up to us and says, "What were you doing up there? Do you know you're on my property? I own that mountain." That's what he said. Wow. I own that mountain. I want to tell you what I said. I didn't miss a beat. I said, "Sir, no offense, but that mountain right now is laughing at you." That's what I said to him. I said, the concept of something that has been here for billions of years and your little 85-year visit thinks that it owns that. It was here before you. It'll be here long after you. My son and I were walking up it to appreciate it. We didn't leave a mess. We didn't destroy anything going up or coming down. We went to the top to look out at this magnificent world. This story hasn't been embellished at all. The guy had nothing to say because, first of all, how do you argue that? And the only thing I could see his thoughts of, I chose the wrong guy to try to pull this with.
Oh my God.
Because I don't know what to say to you.
So he said nothing.
He did not go on to say, "Well, get off my land." It's like, I done told the fella the truth, And so he just listened and he goes, "All right then." I mean, that was about it. "All right then. All right." I just explained to him the concept of ownership. And I know somebody drew up a deed. And so on paper, you own it. But here's the reality. Not only do you not own it, you can't own it. It's not possible for you, who is temporary, to own that. And anyway, he got the message. So I thought it was really, really cool. And my son and I have had a lot of moments like that where, it's just available for learning. But as long as we're willing to do the work, and I want to offer everyone who's watching one simple, beautiful tip. Exchange the word, give up use of the word if in your vernacular, and substitute, trade out the word. Man, this is a Baltic for boardwalk trade right here. It's the other way around, giving up the bad property for the good one. So listen to what we did for our children. Listen to what this little bit of life coaching changes the entire trajectory of their lives. Everybody you meet at some point will say to you, "Now, if you could be anything you wanted," or they'd say, "If you could do anything you wanted to do." And I always look up and I go, "Since?" And they go, "What?" And I said, "Since I can. Not if I could." And so when we present possibility to people, we present it from a fantasy plateau by using the word if.
Yeah.
If you could grow up to be anyone you wanted. It's not if. It's since you can. So as we were raising our children, we always said, since you can have anything in this world, hey, what are you thinking about? What are you thinking it might be? Since you can. So when we use the word if, it presupposes that we can't.
Right.
It presupposes it. And it is devastating to humankind in the worst way, because it is devastating without us even recognizing that it's devastating.
Yeah.
Which is the worst kind of destruction there is. If somebody drops a bomb, we all know it. We hear about it on the news. But somebody drops a bomb in a child's life of limitation and nobody knows anything happened. Nobody knows anything because it's the way everybody talks. So we write it off once again, yet another life having accepted human limitation.
And
So
people,
please start using the word since, not if.
I want to. May I read a poem?
Yeah, man, I got on one of my Ken Walls tirades that I've only learned from you by watching your daytime show. But yeah, man, sorry about that. That you're very respectful because when I get on a roll, you never ever interrupt it, and I want to say thank you, my friend.
Oh, dude, I love when you get on a roll. I want to read a poem that first let me preface this poem before when I when I got sober, it'll on August 10th it'll be 18 years that I've been sober by the grace of God, and honestly it blows me away because I was thinking about this yesterday actually. um, I I started seriously partying when I was about 16 years old. And I mean, seriously getting into heavy drinking. And it continued until I was 34 years old. And, and just doing some quick math, that's
18 years. Yep.
So this August, the 10th, I literally will have been sober as long as I partied. I started drinking at a real young age, but I don't think I really crossed over into the full throes of alcoholism till I was probably about 16. So it's like a major thing for me this year.
So what do you call those 16 years prior to?
Prior to what?
Before you started acting out with alcohol. I'm saying because those were sober years.
Yeah, but they weren't really. But I mean, they were.
But I mean, do you credit those, or we are talking about slicing your adult life in half?
The adult life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I literally will have as much time sober as I had drinking and partying. So it's a big thing. But when I first got sober, man, alcohol was an anesthetizer for me. It literally, it was my encourager. Like I had no fear when I drank. I had no fear, like none. I'd spoken on stages under the influence of alcohol. I've done so many things under the influence of alcohol, and so I was an egomaniac with an inferiority complex when I got sober. I was so insecure and did not, of course, I wanted everybody to believe differently. But I was a freaking train wreck. And so I started this journey of searching for, reading everything, devouring everything that Dr. Wayne Dyer put out over and over and over. I've read, so many of his things multiple times.
Good choice.
And I love the guy. And I've read, just all kinds of different books on spirituality, finding, ways to, how do you become a secure person and not, which is the assumed opposite of insecure, and how do you, and so searching and along the way, I've come across some poems. Like there's one called The Desiderata, which is an amazing poem. There's also, and you were just talking about The Journey. And, in recovery, we have that saying like, hey, there's no destination here. This is a journey, trust the process. It's a journey. It's a lifelong journey. Just trust and so there's a poem called The Journey written by Mary Oliver, and I'd like to read it if I could.
Yes. Could you try as you read it to apply some of the things that you've seen taught in the workshop?
No,
Okay.
I couldn't. I'm just going to read it, and then we can talk about it afterwards.
Okay.
It goes like this. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began. Though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles, Mend my life, each voice cried. But you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do. Though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough and a wild night and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voice behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice, which you slowly recognized as your own. That kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save. Man, that is a powerful, powerful poem. And when you really, really get into it and you start breaking it down, you go, man, like so many people are living a lie. They're living a freaking lie. And they put layers upon layers upon layers of 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 justifications and eventually, like, look, man, none of us are going to get out of here alive. Not one of us. Like, live your freaking life. Live your magic. Live your magic. And just, it's the 4 agreements. I mean, Don Miguel Ruiz nailed it with the 4 agreements, and it's simple. It's so simple. Just go out and do your best to be your best. Period. And read. Man, I read a lot. I'm a reading freak because I know that if I read a book that Glenn Morshower wrote, there may be 15 chapters in that book. And I might not be able to relate to everything Glenn's talking about in 13 of those 15 chapters. Maybe might not even make any sense. But somewhere in there, I'm looking for the $1 million nugget. I'm looking for the nugget. What's the nugget that
the secret sauce
that I'm going to get out of this that's going to help me become a better person? Arter Tate Vos says you're nonsense. Well, thank you for that. I agree. I am nonsense. So, yeah, man, I think put this.
So go a little put this in a bottle, you hooligans and your billionaires. Oh, that's what Ralph said. Yeah. So may I mention the thing I was going to say about money?
Yes.
It seems that this quest is unending for money, because those that don't have it want it, and those that have it want more. At some point, to me, there has to be a healthy level of spirituality, and in Judaism they call it dayenu, which is enoughness. It's a Hebrew word for enoughness or sufficiency, to where you go, you know what? My needs are met, and now it's time for me to share what I know, right? To share what I know about how to generate results. But it's not time for me, and I'm not being critical of anybody else who lives life this way, but it's not time for me to go try to generate more, because, you know, on the backside of more is happiness. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. And I don't believe it because I'm experienced and I know better, and it's a myth. And the myth needs to be debunked. I have known a lot of really wealthy, unhappy people.
Yep.
A lot of them in my line of work. And that doesn't mean that having a lot of wealth equals unhappiness. That's not what it means. It means that they thought the money itself, in and of itself, would produce it, and it didn't.
Right.
It didn't. You know, you produce your joy first, and you get in sync with your passion. And your passion generates remuneration, heavenly remuneration. I believe that's one of my core beliefs, that we are supported. I believe that alignment gets supported in the world. And it's not like receiving a cookie for a deed well done. It means that the universe wants more goodness in it and welcomes it all the time. I believe that we live in a plentiful universe, and yet that plentiful universe welcomes additional do-gooders and good feelers, love feelers, helpers, high vibration individuals that are here truly to make the world a better place. Those people are welcomed. And I believe that those people are supported so that they can continue to do what it is they do.
Yeah.
And I think that there is an accompanying understanding on our part, because I am admittedly one of that team. I'm a member of that team of prototypes. We have to know that in order to fully activate it. It comes down to the knowing. Yes, it's universal law, but we were even taught that it is done to us according to our faith, according to our belief. Meaning, do you believe that? So if you believe that your intrinsic goodness will not go unrewarded, it won't go unrewarded long term. I don't mean necessarily in this moment. There's a big difference between the micro and the macro minded. So I'm not one who overreacts to what occurs in the micro, because I'm into the journey. The whole journey is the destination, and the journey is very long, and the micro is itty bitty. So, I don't want to obsess over any one moment, but if I continue to go to the home plate of life with my bat in hand, and what I swing for is love. I'm not trying to be poetic, Ken. I mean it. If I step to the plate with love in my heart and swing for the wall, I believe that there is a force that protects such an individual.
I agree.
And strengthens them to get up every day and not only go to the plate, but to go to the plate enthusiastically. I've lived my entire 61 years believing this as early as I was able to formulate a thought. Right? What does this say? I found that I'm a better king maker than a king, and I spend more time helping others than I do helping myself. But the point is, you can't do one without doing the other, Weldon.
That's right.
It's impossible. It's humanly impossible to be helping others while ignoring yourself, because if you're helping others, you're helping you.
That's right.
Effortlessly. In other words, you can be helping someone else and not even know that you're helping you, but that doesn't mean it's not true. It might just be going unnoticed, but rest assured, every one of you, if you are helping someone, you are helping you. It's impossible to fill the harbor with water without everyone's boat being elevated by that action.
It goes, you know what? It goes back. I don't know if you ever saw the movie My Name is Bill W. with
I didn't see it, but I know who Bill W. is. So
there's a movie.
Is it like a movie for the theaters or a documentary? What was it?
I'm pulling up on Google real quick because I want to. It is a movie with James Wood, Jo Beth Williams, and
Should be James Woods.
Or Woods. Sorry, James
He's a
Wood.
friend of mine. That's why I want to protect his name.
James Woods,
Yeah, great actor.
Joe Beth Williams,
Williams
and James Garner.
and James Garner. Wow.
And you know, it's the story. It's a great movie. Great movie.
Oh man, I want to see this thing.
You got to see it. It's freaking amazing.
You know, when it's an older movie like that, Ken, what is the best bet to see something like that? Do you Google it? Do you go to Amazon? What do you do?
It's on Amazon Prime. So you
Okay.
can watch it on Amazon Prime. It's just such and so
I've got a feeling James Garner plays Bill W.
You nailed it. And
I don't even know. I'm not looking at anything on it. It makes sense to me, the casting.
No, James Woods plays Bill W.
Oh, James Woods does.
James Garner plays Dr. Bob.
Dr. Bob, which was Bill W.'s partner, right? That formed AA.
It's about the founding of AA
Right.
and so, you know, in that, Bill is a New York businessman, Bill W. Bill Wilson. He was a New York businessman, and he was on a trip to Akron, Ohio for some business thing, and he was staying at a hotel, and he was newly sober, and he had, there was no AA, there was nothing, but he had this, and he was walking by the bar, hearing all the clanking of the glasses and the laughter, and he was like, I really want to go in and have a drink, and he realizes that what he actually needs to do is find another alcoholic. He needs to find another alcoholic that he can go talk to. And so he starts searching. It's a long, you have to see the movie, but that's when he comes across Dr. Bob, who was a proctologist. Dr. Bob, by the way,
Was he a Southerner at all?
No, Dr. Bob is from Akron, Ohio.
Oh, wow.
And Dr. Bob said that you know, because you know, people in AA are often referred to as assholes. So Dr. Bob said, you know, I spent my entire career working on assholes, and the rest of my life dealing with them in AA. But so long story short, Bill finds Dr. Bob, they sit down, they have a talk, and they realize that that's what they needed. They needed to help another person to stay sober. And so it really is an amazing movie. And that's what I learned early on is, you know, I heard a guy in AA when I was going to AA, I heard a guy say, this New Yorker, he's giving his talk, his lead, and his life story basically. And he says, you know, when I first got sober, somebody told me that the magic is at the bottom of the coffee pots and the bottom of the ashtrays, because in meetings you used to be able to smoke. And he said, I know, what the heck do you mean? He's like, just, you're going to find the magic in the bottom of the coffee pots and in the bottoms of the ashtrays. So at the end of every meeting, go grab one of the coffee pots, take it back to the kitchen, clean it out, wipe it out really good. The magic's down there in the bottom, and the ashtrays, clean them really, really good, and you'll find the magic. It's in the bottom of those ashtrays. Just make sure you get them all cleaned up after every meeting. And what that means is you're helping.
I can see it. You're being of service.
You're being of service. You're
That's
helping.
the magic.
And that's where the magic is. So it goes back to what you just said. That's what reminded me of it, Glenn, is what you just said, because you literally, like, when things are not going well for you, reach out to somebody else. Reach out to somebody else. Go find somebody else to help. I know that logically you're like, yes, but that doesn't pay my electric bill. I understand, but yes, it does. Trust me on this one. I promise you it does. And that's where the magic of helping others.
May I even peel that onion back a little further?
Yes.
And explain that, one, you're entirely right. And I know it's not even your original concept. You're just agreeing with it, right? You're agreeing just as I'm agreeing. But I think there's an explanation as to why it works that way. And it's a wee bit abstract, but for however many of you, few of you that have hung in there, and thank you so much for for staying with us. But sometimes when it goes down to just a few sweet late night lingering folks, we can stumble upon some really, really cool stuff. So here is my explanation for what happens, and you're going to have to go non-linear a little bit. You're going to have to be a little abstract, not a lot, just a little bit. So here is why. You say, well, Ken, to use your verbiage, you said, well, that doesn't pay my light bill. Right? How does someone, I'm having a hard time making ends meet. How's that supposed to make a difference? And the answer is because when we are of service at a molecular level, we change. We change. This is scientific fact, by the way. This is not Glenn's theory. It's still abstract, but it shows you that just because something occurs within the bandwidth of the not so obvious doesn't mean it's not occurring. It still occurs, but you got to dig deeper and look at why it might be occurring the way it's occurring. Well, here's what's occurring. When we go to help someone, this 100% of the time lifts us up. Don't take my word for it. Go live this way and watch. It lifts you up. Here is why it pays your light bill. Because when it lifts you up, as you come up, you now are residing on a higher vantage point from whence to look at your life. So there are solutions available to you when you elevate that are not available to you when you're laying in the gutter.
Yep.
So you're basically doing something to help somebody else out, which in turn lifts you up, and you go, oh my God, I know what to do. I've been struggling with this for 6 months, and I know what to do. Yes, you do, because you're not looking at it from the same place.
Yep.
So the higher we go in life, the clearer things are. I've seen this happen again and again and again, which is why I don't want to allow myself to become inundated with things that I feel stuck in. So I believe that is the explanation for why helping others. And that's why sometimes we're told if you feel like you're stuck, even writers have a condition, Ken, that they call writer's block.
Yeah.
Right. And the idea is to not just get angry and force it. Sometimes you step away.
Yeah.
You go do something that brings you joy. Go do something completely aside from the script. Leave the house, leave the office building, but get away from it and go jet skiing or go buy someone lunch. Go do something to help humankind. Go give somebody a much needed encouraging word or a hug or whatever. And then you come back and bam, and you know exactly what to do. Because you're not stuck, and because you're coming from a much more macro-minded place, and we're never stuck in the macro.
Yeah.
The micro is the only place where we ever feel like we're stuck. Just one more thought on it, and it's a simple one, is just know this. With regard to being stuck, you're usually not. It's a feeling. It's not a fact. And that's why people say, I feel stuck. Good. I'm glad you worded it correctly. You didn't say I'm stuck. You said I feel stuck.
Yeah.
So stuck is an illusion. And when you can say, that's why if you're ever feeling sick, don't declare I'm sick. If you need to tell someone, tell them you're feeling sick.
Yeah.
Instead of announcing it in a way that owns it and makes it your thing to be stuck in. I mean, this is metaphysics 101. I'm sorry, Ken, what, buddy?
Well, I love what you're talking about. I want to address what Ernest says here. What do you do when you help someone over a long period of time, like 7 years, and they still continue to destroy themselves? I want to address this by telling a quick little story. I had a guy, and I think I've told this with you on here before, I'm not sure, but I had a guy that worked for me that I promoted to VP of sales, and he had done a great job selling. And I invited him to our house for steaks. Had to run down to Costco to get the steaks, and I said, "Why don't you go with me?" And we, on the way back, we stopped at this light. We're in his car. We're at this traffic light in the middle of nowhere, but we're at the off this exit ramp off the interstate, and we're turning left to head over towards my house. And there's a guy standing there with a sign asking for money. I think I had like $42 on me at the time, and in cash. And I open up my wallet, I pull it all out, and I said, "Hey, tell that guy to come over here." This guy working for me says, "No." I go, "Tell him to come over here. Roll your window down and tell him to come here." And he's like, "Dude, you can't give him that money. Give it to me." I said, "I'm not giving it to you. Tell him to come here before the light turns now." And he's like, "He's just going to blow it on booze or whatever." I said, "Roll your window." I almost said his name. Ugh, I don't want to do that. I said, "Roll your window down and tell him to come over here." He comes over. I said, "Hey, man, here." And I reach over and I give the guy the $42 or whatever. It's all the cash I had in cash, right? And the guy like was shocked, and he says, "Thank you. God bless you." I said, "God bless you too, man." And the light turned green and we went on, and this dude's like really ticked off that I just given the homeless guy the money. And I said, "Listen, man, when you help somebody, it's not between you and that other person. That's between you and God. And then what they do with the money isn't between them and me. It's between them and God. And if you're helping somebody just so you can say, well, they're not living up to the standard that I think they should be, or they're continuing to destroy their life. Look, man, there was a time when people had lost all hope on me. And I mean, everybody, my mom, my dad, my whole family, everybody. I had drank everybody out of my life. But there were some people that said, you know, we still love you, but we're loving you from afar. And it took every single last drop of alcohol and pain that I consumed and created to get me to the place of where I finally said, I surrender. I've had enough. Somebody please help me. And I had to go to meetings, to a recovery group to get that help. So it's not a matter of, well, I've helped somebody for 7 years or 10 years or 30 years or 100 years or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Were you in the right place doing it? Did you help them for the right reasons? Number one. And number two, are you doing it for selfish reasons? Because I've done that where I help somebody just so I look like the big man on campus, but that's no reason to help somebody. Help somebody to help somebody, and that's it. Just put a period there. And if they continue to destroy their lives and they're destroying your life, well, then that's your fault. You have to learn to set boundaries and disconnect. But hopefully I'm not coming off like some sort of a jackass lecturer, because that's not the way I mean it. I've been there.
I don't think you have. I don't think anyone who's known you over the years, Ken, would ever think that about you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that, I can come at it from a different perspective because I've been there. I've been there. He refuses to see that he has a problem. Trust me, I know all about that. It's called denial, and it's not a river in Egypt. But I've been there. I've been in denial. I've been in the place where I manipulated everybody around me to believe that they were the ones with the problem, not me. I've been there. I've done it. Bought the T-shirt. I know all about it. But there is a point, and I've brought this up before too, even in the Bible, where Jesus told his disciples, hey, not everybody's going to get the message, y'all. So when you leave their village, sometimes you just got to shake the dust off your feet, man, and let it be. Let them figure it out. And they will or they won't. And it's sad. It's unfortunate. It is very, very sad that so many people leave this world way too early because they were so sick that they were never able to get completely honest with themselves. I today, because I take this one day at a time, for me, I feel blessed and fortunate that today I'm able to be honest with myself enough to know that I can't take a drink. It's not good for me and it's not good for the world. So anyway, I'll get down off my soapbox and back to you, Glenn.
Oh, it was beautiful. You were just responding to Ernest's sincere request. You know, I did it with my my own brother.
Yeah.
And not for 7 years. I did it for just over 40.
Yeah.
And then ultimately it cost him his life this year at age 62. And I would say this.
Whoa.
Try to not get too frustrated.
Yeah.
Stay in the spirit of love. Do the best you're able to do. Here's the big one, Ernest. You throw him a rope, and you stay the hell out of the quicksand.
That's it.
Throw him a rope. Don't get in the sand. And I don't care what the invitations are to come get in the sand with them. You get two people in the sand, you have two people that drown. That's what happens. Yep. So the only value that you have for anyone who's hurting, the only value any of us have, is if we get ourselves on solid ground first.
Yep.
And then throw them a rope. But you got to also understand this. Whether or not they take it is not your issue. You can't make them take the rope. We're all here working out different things. We're working our stuff out. We're working our lives out. We're working our karma out. We're working our energy out. We're answering question marks. We're filling in the blanks. We're working at it. We're discovering. We're peeling back the onion. Every one of us, to a greater or lesser extent, we're explorers. And some people are faring better at that exploration than others. That doesn't make them better people. Some people are having an easier time of it. And life is a joyride. And for others, life is a chore. And they don't know it any other way. Chore is the only template from which they've ever operated. So they don't, I mean, right now, if I ask you to make the 27th sound of the alphabet, I'll guarantee you, if you started to make a sound, it would not be the 27th. It would be one of the 26th your head knows.
Yeah.
Because that's the full extent of your knowledge of all the available sounds. Well, surely there are other sounds, but those are the ones our brains have been taught. This follows into your cognitive dissonance discussion from the other day, Ken. But if you don't know it and you've never heard it, you can't recite the 27th letter of the alphabet. So you're playing from the deck you've built. And that's true of every human being we ever meet. They're playing with the deck they've built. And they're not working with your tools. They're not working with your methodologies. They've not been exposed to the same exact kind of imprinting that you have, plus or minus, meaning positive or negative. And it could go down to one moment. One. It usually isn't. It's usually a compilation of moments, but it could be one key moment from which they have never recovered. And it changed them. And it wasn't just the moment. It was the mishandling of the moment because they could only work with their available tool set. So their interpretations of the moment was based on their ability to process. So you or Ken or me could have been side by side with them in the same life canoe, exposed to the same painful stimulus But if your tool set is far greater than theirs, that event will not affect you identically, simply because the person with the bigger tool set is going to process the events better.
Yep.
They're going to process them more efficiently, and they're going to find a way to even play a bad situation to their soul's advantage. They're not going to feel sorry for themselves. They're going to somehow wind up with an understanding that what seemed to have been the worst moment of their life was, in fact, the best moment of their life, because it clarified something. So it isn't the events, it's our ability / inability to process those events. And you can't make people process at the way you hope or wish they would. And it's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to lead with love, to live a life that is exemplary and thus inspirational, so that they can look. And you know the old saying, actions speak louder than words. This is a classic example of that. I want to see someone who comes from love, not someone who talks about it. I want to be able to look at their life and go, that's love. So just love them, man. Just love them, and keep loving them, and keep leading an exemplary life, and offer help where you can, but try not to get angry about their refusal to put the rope around their beingness and swim to shore. Because you got to understand that part of what they're doing is working out their soul's curriculum. I know that starts sounding woo-woo, foo-foo, but in other words, they're working out things that we don't understand. I saw this one. I wish it were original. It's not, but I saw this one recently when it talked about relationships that come to an end, and seemingly unexplainable end. Like all of a sudden everything was great and the person just disappeared. And what I saw was, the statement was this: regarding that person that has left your life and you're so upset, you can relax about it, because God heard conversations that you didn't.
I saw that too.
And I went, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, is that brilliant?
That's powerful.
Which means these people were strategically plucked from your life because you don't know the whole truth. And what happened is a higher power got them the hell off the dance floor with you.
Yeah.
Is really what it comes down to. And I do believe that those protective orders are in place, Ken. I believe it. I believe that when we come from love, there is a power that ensures we will be given the best company on the dance floor. And if an imposter shows up and starts trying to dance, and it's really not a dance that's in our best interest, I have a nickname for these people. My nickname is Fool's Gold. They're fool's gold, and we get distracted and we get caught up in, man, they're so wonderful. They're so interesting. And man, it's been a long time since I've seen an evolved soul like that. And then as time goes on, you go, something's not right.
Right.
Something's not right. And then they disappear, and rest assured, they weren't holding the same opinion about the dance that you were. Because there's a good chance, and I don't mean always, guys, so please don't hang me up on a generalization. I'm saying a lot of the time where you differed from them is they were on the dance floor with an agenda.
Wow.
They were there with an agenda.
I think
and you were dancing because you love dancing.
Well, and I think, you said something that I want to point out that's unbelievably important, because I was getting ready to make another point.
Yeah.
But they, of course, because of the way we are connected, they intertwine. And that is, you said when you come from a place of love.
And I didn't say if. You're right. I said when.
And
when we do that.
And and then you finished it, but I want to focus on coming from a place of love. So when you come from a place of love, there's no judgment of the situation, period. There's no judgment. Weldon threw in there, can you help them improve their tool set without getting drugged down in the sand? And the answer to that is, it's simple, but it's also complicated, because the simplicity of it is, yes, you can, but they have to want that. They have to see that. They have to see it, not you pointing it out. They have to see that there's something wrong with the tool set that they're using. If they don't see it, and maybe you pointing it out could help, but again, like Jesus said, a prophet, and I'm paraphrasing, a prophet is useless in his own town.
Right.
Like,
a man is not without honor save in his own country.
right. So like you trying to lecture your wife, Glenn, probably doesn't work out very well.
Which is precisely why I don't do it.
Right. But I mean, so it's that whole thing we just talked about, right? So when you focus, and again, I've done this, man. I've been there. I've done it. I know when we spend time focused on fixing out what we perceive as other people's problems because they don't necessarily mesh with what we want them to be, then we're taking the focus off of us coming from that place of love. And if you're coming from a place of love, you're doing it for love, not for gain. And so if you're like, well, I've been trying to get this person to change for years, or do this or do that, well, dude, then you're doing it for the wrong reason. You have to, and again, I'm not this is not coming from a place of judgment. This is coming from a place of massive experience personally, where I've tried to change people, and it's like, I finally realized, what I need to do is I need to raise my own vibrations to a higher vibration. And the ones that are supposed to vibrate up there with me, they're going to be up there with me. The ones that are not ready for that, they're going to fall off. And it is what it is. I can't fix that. I can't change it. What I can do is take personal responsibility for me becoming a better version of me. So when I'm out there in the world or wherever I am, I'm helping people based on a higher vibrational self of me. Am I making sense? I don't even know if that makes sense, but
you are.
Yeah. So you want to come at it from, hey, you know what? I'm going to help this person out, whoever it is. I'm going to help this person out. And I'm going to do that by first focusing on making sure that I am a better person. If I am a better person, then I'm putting off a higher vibration energetically, and those people will either be lifted up with me as a result of osmosis, or they'll fall away. And I'm not in control of that.
All that is true. And Ernest, this is not necessarily an uplifting outcome, but it's kind of a spoonful of realism that may help. And that is this. There are casualties that occur. That's all I'll say. There are casualties. And we can't prevent all of them. Our job is to play our part, to do our thing, and throw them a rope and come from love, and let them look deep into your eyes to know that there is no agenda other than pure love, care, and concern, all wrapped in one. I was going to ask you to highlight that comment from Charles Coachman. I had already looked over and read it, because Charles and I, it looks like, lost, our brothers this year. And mine was my brother, who was 2 years older. This was his little brother. But there are those casualties. And so sometimes, Ernest, there is a detachment where you can look, and I'm not talking about surrendering. I'm not talking about giving up the good fight. I am saying this, to go to that place of acceptance and say, there is a chance that this may not be a winnable war. It may not be winnable. And it's not yours to determine what the outcome needs to be. Just keep showing them love and be done with it. The results aren't up to you anyway. Just keep doing the right thing, because one of two things is going to happen. And you know the two things. They're going to come around or they're not. They're going to come around or they're not. And in either scenario, you're going to be grateful you lived the way you lived.
That's right.
In either scenario, because you're going to have the victory of watching them have a breakthrough and things change for the significantly better, or they're not, and you're going to be able to stand and be proud of the men you see in the mirror for the efforts you made on their behalf, despite the fact that they went down the drain anyway.
Even if they never recognize it.
Right. It's not for lack of trying. And I got to tell you, I'm not a drain circler in my life. I'm not that. And a lot of people will invite you to circle the drain with them in life. I have visited that vicinity. I don't like it, which is why I've committed to not hanging out by the drains of life.
Yeah.
I don't like how it feels. So I think a lot of people do get committed to the feeling of living right on the edge of a drain. Like that's where they're most comfortable. I'm not saying they're happy, but their comfort zone is being in the midst of everything falling apart.
Yeah.
Because that's their template. And it has a gravitational pull.
Yep.
On it. So you got to be careful about getting too close to the fire. You know, I know you've all done this. We've all done this. You can wave your finger right through a flame. You turn on your burner on your, on your stove, and you can wave it, or through a candle. I'm talking not above it, right through the flame.
Through the flame, yep.
But the only reason you can do that is because you didn't hang out in it.
That's right.
Watch and see what happens when you slow your finger. And that same metaphor really applies with drain circling.
Yeah.
Because you can wave your finger through drain circling, but man, you start slowing down and getting near it, there's a chance you'll go down the drain before they do. So self-esteem says, make sure you're taking care of your own level of wellness, not to mention the old adage about while ignoring the log in your own eye.
That's right.
Which is a huge awareness. Sometimes it becomes very convenient for us to deflect issues that have not been addressed in our own lives. And I'm not saying this is true of you, Ernest. I'm saying of all of us, of all people, that we may get very busy at ignoring unfinished business within us so that we can focus on issues other people have. And I just think as long as we're mindful and say, do I have some stuff that could stand some work?
And have a champion mentality, not a victim mentality. Like when we put ourselves in the place of, well, I've done, and I'm not throwing stones, I've been there. This is my experience where I found out that, you know what, I've lived many, 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 many years of my life not even realizing I was unintentionally, but yet intentionally setting myself up to be a victim, and knowing full well that this person was going to victimize me, knowing that it was going to happen, but I kept trying anyway. And then at the end of it, I'm the one that felt like, well, they've moved on with their life, or they're doing this now, or they're doing that. And here I am holding all the broken pieces. Poor me. Look at what I've done. I've given you everything. I did everything for you. And look at what you did to me. And that's being a victim. Instead of taking that role on in your life, try taking on the I am a champion role. That I am responsible for my life, my happiness, my prosperity, my health. I am responsible for all of that. And if, as long as I don't go through life saying, well, Glenn, look what I did for you. And oh, you left me with these broken pieces and now I got to put it all back together. And I mean, Glenn's moved on with his life. He's like, dude, what are you talking about? You weirdo, move on with your life. Like, it's over. Like, go. So I'm just saying that, again, and Ernest, I'm not calling you a victim. I'm saying it's easy. It's so easy for us, especially based on the programming that we have. Somebody else programmed most of us to believe what we believe. So you can reestablish a new program. You can have a new program, and you can say, you know what? I'm going to be a champion starting today. I'm the champion of my own life. And I'm not talking about from an arrogant standpoint. I'm talking about owning who you really are, which goes back to what we originally started talking about. Glenn, I love you. I see it in your eyes. You're dwindling away. I am definitely.
No, I'm actually not dwindling, but you may be. I actually was running a beautiful thought.
Well, I want to hear your thought, but I'm giving you a five.
It's so beautiful. I'm writing it down.
5-minute warning.
Okay.
That I don't have a whole lot left in the tank. It's 1 a.m. here almost.
I know. No, I get it. I'll write it later, but basically I just had this thought is.
I want to hear the thought, man.
Well, it's simple. It's that every one of us were born. I mean, I don't want to argue this. I just really see it. I see how true this is. Every one of us were born undisturbed. And then we got exposed to being disturbed. And the evolutionary path looks like this: undisturbed, disturbed, hopefully previously disturbed, followed by free.
Love that.
It's 4 levels, and I love when someone moves from being the disturbed to the previously disturbed, right? Because I just know that we've all, to a lesser or greater extent, been disturbed. There have been some negative hands laid upon us.
Yep.
Environmentally, if not even physically. Maybe they were physical hands laid upon you. We know that thing is out there. That element occurs in life. But I'm talking about in terms of the hands of imprinting.
Yeah.
That we've all had some really, really poor imprinting that occurred, whether it was from a teacher. Usually it's parental, but it can be societal. It can even be in religion. It truly can be. Don't think that religious people somehow have some sort of exemption card, because they don't. They're humans as well. And right. So I think that when we can shed the pain of that to where I can go, you know what? I'm actually not disturbed anymore. So I'm previously disturbed, and a lot of disturbing.
Yeah.
And then I move to being free, because life is too precious and too short to be hanging out in the town of Disturbedville. I don't want to build a house in Disturbedville. You can look there, you can have the realtor show you a home, but ultimately I think you got to go, you know what? This is not where I want to live.
Right.
It's a town I wanted to drive through, the town of Disturbedville, and build my home in Freedomville. We'll call it that. I'm going to share that with my students tomorrow. I am. And I will say goodnight to you, Keno.
Here's a saying you can share as well.
I love when our follow-up is longer than the friggin' show. That's pretty funny.
That's crazy. Welcome.
We went to the locker room and spent more time there than we spent out on the football field. That's funny.
There's the damn locker room again. Let go and be free, or hang on and be dragged.
Is that a reference to a joint? What is that?
People hang on to stuff, man, that they shouldn't be hanging on to. Let go, man. Surrender.
Yeah.
Surrender.
Yeah. Well, we've got the hardcores here. Thank you all for your vulnerability tonight. I'm going to go back. Ken's going to say goodnight. I'm going to look at some of these comments and just have them smile.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it, fella.
Hey, Ken, I'll see you in class if you make it, and if not, I'll talk to you on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll pop.
God bless you, brother. It's been a beautiful Sunday evening, as it always is.
It's been wonderful.
Ernest, hey, I want to go down the list because we don't have that many that are here. Ernest, thank you.
Yes.
Robert, thank you. Doug, thank you. Charles Coachman, thank you. Weldon, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you. Cindy, what will we do without you, dear? Thank you for being there. Is Pamela Aubrey with us or no?
She
is. Yeah, she's out there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Let me go up and see if there's anybody else here that's at least posting.
Look,
now, that seems to be the list of primary people in the room. It was a fun little deprogramming time.
Scott Ricard is here. Thank you.
Oh, Scott's here. Still good. You know, Pamela, hey, Ken, give me 60 more seconds.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to not address this. Your comment about everyone being afraid of death. I'm not. And there was a time in my life when I was, but not really even then. I want to tell you why. It's because I trust the system. I trust the system. I think one of the reasons that we came up with religion, and I'm a very, very, very faithful man, a very spirited man, and my faith runs deep. But I got to tell you, what many religions today have come up with, I think if I could channel the voice of God, if I could be so bold, I really see God going, you have got to be kidding me. Really? This is what they think I had in mind with life? Are you joking? It's an abomination. This is not at all what I had in mind. And I hear that voice. You know, I've been teaching people for years that you will experience true spiritual freedom when your prayers shift from being monologues to dialogues. And when your list of gimme, gimme, gimmes become thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, we hear it all the time. People say, give me the strength, Lord, Lord, give me the strength, give me the strength. Just give me the strength to face that. Give me the strength to handle, which presupposes that he didn't. It presupposes that we have an inadequate creator who somehow didn't think of it to give you a sufficient supply of strength. Or he's an underling that needs our coaching. Right? He needs an elbow, a reminder. Hey, give me more. You're not doing a good job. I need more. Right? I do talks on strength at churches worldwide on why we keep saying gimme, 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 which presupposes that we don't have it and that we weren't given it. When the reality is we were given it on the assembly line of life at birth. So a really healthy person says, thank you for the strength that I've been given, not give me the strength. Thank you for the strength I've been given to handle what I'm being asked to handle right now. Thank you for that. I've been praying thank yous for years in lieu of gimme, gimme, gimme. And I trust the system. I do agree. I agree that most people are afraid of death. And because of it, they have concocted a story that has them believe that they've got all of their spiritual T's crossed and their I's dotted and they're good to go. They're set. When if they would just trust the process and admit that they don't know, they think and they believe and they hope and they wish.
Yeah.
Right? But they always use words like, I know. Really? Have you been dead? Right. Have you been dead and you came back and you're redoing it all? I mean, because I really love to know, and especially if you've spent an extended time in a graveyard. If you've been one of these cats that's been underground for 4 or 5 years and you're back and you crawled out of your casket, man, I'd love to have you on the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott. and find out what that experience was like. Well, since I haven't been and you haven't been either, and we're on the front side of the dash, meaning we are left side entries. My left side entry reads 1959. I do not know what year will be on the right side of the dash. And that dash is that 1 inch long horizontal line that is the summation of our entire lives. We get a line. Date to the left, date to the right, and that line is the indicator of where it all happened. That was it. The entirety of our lives, a 1 inch horizontal line. And it's up to us to determine how big that friggin' line is.
Yep.
Meaning how powerful it is, how impactful it is, how love-packed jammed it was, how helpful it was, what a difference we made during our visit. But at the end of the day, we either trust the process or we don't.
Yeah.
And I do. I trust the process. If you said to me, what exactly is going to happen? I would look you square in the eye and say, I don't know, but I trust it. I do trust it.
Yep.
And so I don't, and what that keeps me from doing is walking around worrying about, well, what's going to happen to me and what's going to happen to, that's the face of someone who doesn't trust. I've been given a heart and a commandment to love with it. And I really do assume that there are many things being taken care of that are above my pay grade. I know what my job is. My job is to love and live well.
Yep.
My job is to step to the fullness and to the forefront of the purpose for which I was created, or purposes. And it's up to me to figure that out. As long as I'm doing that, there's all sorts of things that are going to happen that I do not know why, I do not know how, I do not know when, and it doesn't matter. What matters is that I trust it. And I will tell you that when you live that way, fear goes bye-bye.
Yep.
So I'm glad you posted that, Pamela.
Thank you.
Love to you all. Ken, most of all you, my friend. My life over the last few months, you know, we started this show as a direct response to COVID originally. I'm saying before it even became the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott. It was, and Pamela was a part of that with us, and she's still a part with us.
Yeah.
But it was a team of good-willed people, and we're like, you want to come on tonight? And we were doing it almost nightly.
Yeah.
Because people didn't know whether to poop or wind their wristwatch. They were upside down. Things had gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah.
And people were afraid, and they were falling apart, and they were frail and confused. And we thought, let's give them a
hope.
Yeah, let's give some hope. And we did. And then it turned into a weekly show. But I will never forget where it all started for us or why. And the why is love, which is why this show is blessed.
Yep.
It's blessed because it's not rooted in agenda. It's not rooted in ego. It's certainly not rooted in money.
No.
We're not making money doing this, but it's rooted in love.
That's right.
And for those of you that watch, I'm telling you, that's why it feels good. It feels good because the people at the helm that are engineering the show and the people that are watching it, what we all have in common is we have a Sunday night love fest. So how is that going to go wrong?
That's right.
And the answer is it won't go wrong. So let's keep meeting. And when you're available to come be with us on Sundays, you will be. And when you're not, you won't, and you are loved. I'm going to go love my stomach.
So you guys, thank you all.
Catch your breath, Ken. To all of you. Night, night.